The Harris family, seeking a fresh start, purchased a beautiful yet antiquated Victorian house in the heart of Ohio. The house, with its intricate woodwork and towering spires, seemed like a dream come true for John and Mary Harris. They'd always wanted a place with character, a home that told a story. Little did they know this house had many stories to tell, some of which were better left untold. The home stood 3 stories tall, with a musty attic and a sprawling garden. The garden, though overgrown, hinted at its former glory, with remnants of rose bushes and a stone fountain. The attic, filled with forgotten relics, seemed to whisper secrets of the past. John, the father, saw it as a symbol of a promising future. He envisioned family gatherings, laughter echoing through the halls, and a place where memories would be made. His optimism was infectious, and he was determined to restore the house to its former glory. Mary, his wife, worried about the home's dilapidated state, but held on to hope for their family's happiness. She couldn't shake the feeling that the house had a life of its own, but she pushed those thoughts aside, focusing on the potential for a fresh start. Their daughter Lily, 10, felt an unexplainable chill as they crossed the threshold. The air inside the house was different, heavier, as if it carried the weight of countless memories. She clung to her mother's hand, her eyes wide with a mix of curiosity and fear. The first few days were consumed by unpacking and settling in. Boxes were opened, furniture was arranged, and the house slowly began to feel like home. Yet there was an underlying tension, a sense that they were not alone. John busied himself with fixing leaky faucets and creaking floorboards, his optimism echoing through the empty rooms. He was determined to make the house perfect, to erase any signs of neglect. His laughter and humming filled the air, a stark contrast to the house's eerie silence. Mary, however, felt a creeping unease. She couldn't pinpoint what it was, but there was something about the house that made her skin crawl. She often found herself glancing over her shoulder, feeling as if she was being watched. The house seemed to hold its breath, its silence punctuated by the occasional groan of the floorboards. Every creak and whisper seemed amplified, echoing through the empty halls. It was as if the house was alive, watching and waiting. Lily, more sensitive to the unseen, felt a constant presence, as if being watched by unseen eyes. She often woke up in the middle of the night, her heart pounding, convinced that someone or something was in the room with her. The Victorian house, with all its charm and beauty, held a dark and mysterious secret that the Harris family was only beginning to uncover. As days turned into weeks, strange occurrences began to plague the Harris family. Footsteps echoed from the empty attic, their rhythm heavy and uneven. Lights flickered and died without reason, plunging the house into an unsettling darkness. Whispers, too low to decipher, seemed to emanate from the walls, sending shivers down their spines. John, a pragmatist, dismissed these events as old house quirks, but Mary felt a growing sense of dread. She began to notice cold spots in certain areas, a sudden drop in temperature that sent chills down her spine. Lily, her young mind susceptible to fear, began having nightmares, her dreams haunted by shadowy figures and disembodied voices. One afternoon, while her parents were busy downstairs, Lily found herself drawn to the attic door. It stood slightly ajar, a sliver of impenetrable darkness beckoning her. As if in a trance, she climbed the stairs, each step creaking a warning she couldn't heed. A cold gust of wind slammed the door shut, plunging her into absolute blackness. Panic seized her. She screamed for her parents, her voice swallowed by the oppressive silence. As she fumbled for the doorknob, she felt a cold breath on her neck, a whisper of her name chilling her to the bone. John, hearing Lily's terrified screams, raced to the attic. His heart pounded in his chest as he took the stairs 2 at a time, the old house creaking under his weight. The dim lighting made the shadows dance on the walls, adding to the eerie atmosphere. He found the door locked, as if held shut by an unseen force. The handle was cold to the touch, and no matter how hard he twisted, it wouldn't budge. It was as if the house itself was conspiring against him. Desperation fueled his strength as he threw his weight against it, the old wood splintering under the force. Each impact sent echoes through the house, a testament to his determination to reach Lily. Inside, Lily huddled in the corner, her eyes wide with terror. The dim light from a single bulb cast long shadows, making the room feel even more oppressive. She was shaking, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. She pointed to a shadowy figure at the far end of the attic, a figure that vanished as quickly as it had appeared. The air was thick with an unexplainable chill, and John could feel the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. John, though shaken, searched the attic thoroughly, finding nothing but old furniture and discarded toys. The dust-covered relics of the past seemed to mock his efforts, each creak of the floorboards adding to the tension. He found an old journal tucked under a floorboard. The leather cover was worn and cracked, and the pages were yellowed with age. It was a relic from another time, a silent witness to the house's dark history. The faded ink spoke of a man named Silas, who had lived in the house a century ago. The entries were filled with tales of love, jealousy, and ultimately tragedy. Each word seemed to echo with the pain of the past. He had been accused of murdering his wife in a fit of jealous rage and had hanged himself in the attic. The journal ended abruptly, leaving a chilling silence that seemed to fill the room. The shadows on the walls seemed to grow darker, as if the house itself mourned the tragic events. Section 5. The Darkness Deepens. The discovery of the journal sent a chill down John's spine. He could no longer deny the malevolent presence in their home. The supernatural activity escalated. Objects moved on their own, doors slammed shut with unnatural force, and disembodied voices whispered their names in the dead of night. The family was trapped in a nightmare. Sleep offered no escape, only terrifying visions of Silas, his eyes burning with rage and despair. Lily's innocent laughter was replaced by nervous silence. She refused to be alone, clinging to her parents as if they were her only shield against the unseen terror. Section 6.1. Final terrifying night. The climax came on a stormy night. The wind howled outside, mimicking the cries of a tormented soul. Inside, the house seemed to tremble as if the very foundation was under attack. Lily, her eyes wide with terror, pointed to the attic door. It was slowly creaking open, as if inviting them in. A cold wind swept through the house, extinguishing every light and plunging them into darkness. Furniture overturned, pictures flew off the walls, and the air grew heavy with the stench of decay. John, his fear turning to anger, screamed at the entity, demanding it leave his family alone. Section 7. Flight from the shadowed house. The entity responded with a deafening roar, the sound of pure rage and despair. It echoed through the empty halls, reverberating off the walls and filling every corner of the house with an overwhelming sense of dread. The house seemed to shudder under the weight of its fury. The walls creaked and groaned as if they were alive, reacting to the entity's wrath. Lights flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced across the rooms, adding to the chaos. Mary, clutching Lily in her arms, urged John to leave. Her voice trembled with fear, but there was a steely determination in her eyes. She knew they had to escape before it was too late. They fled into the stormy night, the screams of the wind blending with their own terror. The rain lashed against their faces, but they didn't stop. They ran as fast as they could, driven by the primal instinct to survive. They never looked back, their escape fueled by pure adrenaline and fear. Every step they took away from the house felt like a small victory, but the terror still clung to them, refusing to let go. They abandoned the house and all its belongings, seeking refuge in a motel on the outskirts of town. The small, dimly lit room felt like a sanctuary compared to the horrors they had just escaped. As dawn broke, they looked back at the house, now silent and still under the pale morning light. It stood there, an ominous silhouette against the rising sun, a stark reminder of the nightmare they had endured. But the terror remained, etched into their hearts, a chilling reminder of the darkness they had encountered. The haunted expressions on their faces told the story of a family forever changed by the horrors of the shadowed house. Section 8. The Ghosts of Our Past. The Harris family never returned to the Victorian house. It was eventually sold at a loss, its dark history whispered among the townsfolk. Some dismissed it as a tall tale, a story concocted to scare children. Others, however, knew the truth, their eyes holding a flicker of fear when the house was mentioned. The Harris family, forever marked by their experience, moved on with their lives. But the memory of that house, of Silas and his tormented soul, lingered like a shadow. They learned that some houses hold more than just memories. They harbor the remnants of past tragedies, of pain and anger that echo through time. Section 9. An Unsettled Reality. The experience left them with more questions than answers. Were they victims of a vengeful spirit, or simply a series of unfortunate events? Does the past truly die, or does it linger in the shadows, waiting to claim unsuspecting souls? The answers, like the shadows in the attic, remained elusive, a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that shape our world. The tale of the Harris family serves as a chilling reminder that some doors are best left unopened, some secrets better left buried. For in the darkness beyond the veil of our reality lie truths too terrifying to comprehend.